There are 6 things you need to start a business. At number 2 is what I call KSE. KSE is an acronym, and I'm going to be explaining what exactly it stands for. K stands for knowledge. There are 2 kinds of knowledge you need to build any business. You need market knowledge and you need product knowledge or business knowledge. Market knowledge is important because your customers will come from the market, right? Your product will be sold on the market. You're going to meet other people like you called competitors, and they can be brutal and they will deal with you and they are willing to crush your business. So if you are naive and you start a business and you do not have a good understanding of the market you're going into, you're going to pay with frustration, with loss, and with all kinds of problems, right? The worst thing you want to do is to start a business in a market you don't understand. What works in Lagos will not entirely work in Abuja. What works in Nigeria may not entirely work in Ghana or Kenya. Every market is different. Every market is unique, right? So you cannot play with market knowledge. Market knowledge is the external knowledge. Your business is going to exist in a market with other businesses, with competitors. The more you know about the market you're going into, the less surprises will hit you, right? The less frustrations and the less you will spend on waste and problems. Market knowledge. The other type of knowledge is product knowledge. If you do not understand what you are selling, you will not be able to get customers. Because trust me, one thing customers are good at is understanding why they should buy what it is that you're selling. They are going to have questions. Customers usually ask a lot of questions, particularly if your product is not familiar, particularly if your product is more expensive than the competition. They're going to ask you why. If you cannot explain the unique benefits you bring to bear, if you cannot explain the value that your product brings, if you cannot explain why and how you are different from the competition, you are going to struggle with you will struggle to get any sales or get customers. So knowledge is very important in business. And don't forget the 2 types of knowledge: market knowledge and product knowledge. If you don't have any of this knowledge and you want to start a business in an industry you're passionate about, keep listening. I'm going to tell you how you can get knowledge if you don't have it. I'm not going to sell you anything. Of course, if you're watching my videos, you know that's not part of the deal. Remember, I said this video is about KSE. I've talked about K. K stands for knowledge. The second is skills. If you're going to build a business, there are 2 kinds of skills you need. You need technical skills and you need business skills. Let me explain. If you're going to start a dry cleaning business, you need to know how to wash clothes, how to look after fabric, the different types of fabric, whether it is silk or cotton. You need to know those details. If you're going to get into healthcare, you need to have some understanding of how the human body works and the machines and equipment and all the best practices for looking after a human. If you want to go into poultry or pig farming or something, you need to know something about how to look after those animals. If not, you may suffer serious losses, right? Why this is important is that some people are so blinded by the draw to make money or profit in a business that they don't pay attention to the technical skills. It's not just enough to say buy and sell. What are you going to sell? That thing will be a product or a service. How well do you understand the technical details of the thing that you're going to buy and sell? Oh, you want to get into the logistics business. Do you know anything? Do you know the first thing about logistics? You want to go into transport. They say transport is making money. Transport is lucrative. Do you have any idea what it takes technically to look after the trucks, the buses, how to handle drivers, how to monitor, how to plan routes, how much fuel do you need to buy for a particular trip? You don't know. If you do not know, you will pay with failure. You're going to pay with losses, right? So there are technical skills in every business has a technical area. Every business has 2 areas, the technical area and the business area. I've talked about the technical skills. The second type of skill you need in a business are business skills. Selling is a skill. For your business to make money, you have to sell. Selling is a skill. Raising money, convincing banks to give you a loan, convincing investors to give you money is a skill. Strategy is a skill. Whether it is about developing your business model, it's a skill. Negotiation is a skill. There are all kinds of skills that you need to properly run a business. And you cannot be all these things. And how did I leave out financial management? The reason why many businesses fail is that many of the people who start these businesses, they don't know anything about money, finance, how to manage it, how to make it, how to spend it, and monitor it properly. So you find that many businesses are leaking because the people who own these businesses do not have the financial skill, right? And maybe this will be the point to talk about something very interesting. I see some people who are very passionate, technical people that are passionate, maybe an engineer who is passionate and wants to start a company, a doctor who is passionate wants to start a company, a lawyer who is passionate wants to start a company, right? Those people are specialists in the technical realm, right? They know their onions very well, technically, but many of them are deficient in business skills. If you leave these kinds of people, they will do the work so well that the business will not be profitable and they will not know. So for some of them, it's so frustrating, the financial side, selling. They might tell you, I'm not a camera person, I don't like to negotiate, I feel very uncomfortable negotiating, I don't know how to sell. You see, the technical skill and the business skill, they come together to make a business work. And if you have a if you're good on the technical side and you're poor on the business side, or you're very good on the business side but you're poor on the technical side, I'm going to tell you what you can do about it in this video. Remember, this video is about KSE, the second important ingredient in starting a business. K is knowledge, S is skill, E stands for experience. Now, there's a reason why when, particularly with venture capital, when investors want to invest money in a company, they are more likely going to invest in an entrepreneur that has experience over somebody who is inexperienced, right? Because business can throw you curveballs. Business is not entirely a science, right? Business is not entirely a science. Business is partly art, partly science. And the more experience you have in business, the better you can perform. So that is why an experienced entrepreneur can start a business with less capital, less time, and less resources, and still be more successful than an inexperienced entrepreneur who gets all the capital in the world, all the resources in the world, all the relationships in the world. Why? The experienced person knows the moves not to make, and by doing so can save resources, can save time, can save energy. The naive entrepreneur just tries different things. I think the best way to do it, the best way to put it is this way. An inexperienced entrepreneur shoots like a machine gun. They're shooting everywhere. They're everywhere. They're trying their luck. They don't know what sales strategy will work for their kind of business. So they try everything. They try Facebook ads. They try TikTok ads. They go and dance a little on TikTok. They go and put up billboards because they don't know what works. They don't have the experience. So they are spending money just trying to find what works. An inexperienced entrepreneur, like I just said, shoots like a machine gun, is everywhere. An experienced entrepreneur is like a sniper. They don't waste their resources. They know exactly what works and they go for it. By doing so, they save time, they save money, they save effort, they save stress because they know exactly where to knock. They've done it before. So anybody who is starting a business and has experience will very likely do better. And you can see this playing out. The hardest business to start will be your first business or even your second. But a time comes in business where you are now able to start businesses very seamlessly, right? That you know exactly what to do. Why? You've already paid for it. You've paid for the tuition. You've paid with your past failures. You've paid with your past losses. So you know exactly what to get done. One example I think most of us can relate with is Aliko Dangote, right? Aliko Dangote just got into the refining business. How do you just wake up? You've never run a refinery or you've never owned a refinery before, and you just drop $20 billion and you set up a refinery and it's going to work. How is he able to do that? His experience. The man has been doing this since the 70s. He's been doing it for almost 4 decades or 5 decades. He has experience. He knows which doors to knock on to raise capital. He knows which doors to knock on to get quality technical people to support him. He knows the critical resources that he needs. He knows where the bodies are buried. Why? He has experience. So how do you start a business, particularly if you're young, you're in your early 20s, you're in your 30s, or you're even about to retire? You've always been a company man or a company woman. You've never started a business and you don't have experience. These things I'm saying might be scaring you, but there's a way out. There's something you can do about it. So now I've talked about the KSE. The KSE is the second important ingredient you need to start a business. K stands for knowledge. There are 2 types of knowledge. Market knowledge, that's external. Then there's internal knowledge, your product knowledge. You need to know what you sell very, very well. If not, it's going to undermine your sales. S stands for skills. There are 2 types of skills. There are technical skills, there's business skills. You need the two of them to build a successful business. Being technical alone will not cut it. Being good at business alone will not cut it, because you still have to sell something. The third thing I talked about is what? Experience. If you don't have experience, you will pay for it with your money, with your sweat, with your frustration. The more experience you have, the easier it is for you to start a business. If you don't have any of these three things, if you don't have the knowledge, the skills, or experience, how can you go about it? Let me start from hardest to easiest. The hardest way to get knowledge or skills or experience is to learn. Most people who have experience, they learned. They didn't know how to run a business. These days is much simpler, because we're in the age of information. Anything you want to learn these days, you can find on YouTube, on social media. There's a lot to learn. But the thing is, are you paying attention? There's a lot you can learn about business. So somebody like me, for example, my channel, that's all I teach. So today you're learning about starting a business. Other times I talk about finance. I talk about how to raise money. I talk about how to hire staff. I talk about how to sell. I talk about how to run a business. I talk about how to improve profits. It all depends. You can learn a lot, just by applying yourself. So if you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the skills, you don't have the experience. Knowledge and skills you can gain by learning. Experience happens over time. When you apply, as you apply your knowledge and your skills, that's how you get experience. But you cannot learn experience, because experience is like boxing. You have to take punches and give punches. That's the only way to get experience, right? So you have to enter the ring. But for knowledge and skills, you can learn. That is the hardest way. The second way, which is better and easier than learning, is to hire. So that is what you're going to see. Aliko Dangote does not have a degree in petrochemical engineering, right? But he owns a refinery. How is that possible? Go and look at all the people that are around him. He has very experienced technical people, technocrats all around him. People who have spent decades in the petrochemical industry. So that is how he is able to shortcut the knowledge and skills that he does not have in refining petroleum. He has the money, so he hires. Not really money, because I'm going to talk about it. It's not, Aliko is not the person who has money, right? It's not only money that will attract those things. I think that's about number 4 or number 5 when I'm talking about these things, right? So you can hire. The skills you don't have, you can hire. You're a technical person. You're an engineer and you're proud of it. You're very technical in your knowledge. You're a lawyer. You're an accountant. You have your technical knowledge. You lack the business knowledge. You can always hire somebody to match the deficiencies that you have. So the second way out of it is to hire. The third way out of it is to partner. That's why when you see some, particularly for many of the startups, you will notice that the co-founders, one is the technical person, the other person is the business person. So if the skills you have are business skills, you can hire somebody who is technical in nature. So if you see a software company, for example, one of the co-founders is the technical person that knows how to code and build the software product. The other person is the business person, the one that knows how and where to knock on doors, the one that knows how to sell, the one that knows how to negotiate, the one that knows how to raise money. That match is usually important. So don't forget, the second ingredient for starting a successful business is KSE. K stands for knowledge, S stands for skills, E stands for experience. If you don't have any of these things, how can you get it? You can learn, you can hire, or you can partner with somebody. I hope you have learned something from this. Don't try to walk into any business blindly. If you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the skills, experience you will pay for over time. But knowledge and skills, fundamentally important. Don't make that mistake. If not, you are going to learn and it's going to cost you. It's going to really, really cost you. I hope you've learned something from this. In my next video, I'm going to be talking to you about the third important ingredient you need to start a business. Thank you.